That sounds normal. And that does not sound right. So this issue in my example is with a forged atmospheric blow-off valve, and it's on my car, which is a Fiat 124 Spider Abarth. Although this issue and the fix and the culprit that I found for it could go across any turbo car that's running a blow-off valve, this issue could happen as well. So although I'm sharing my example, pay attention because this could be an issue with yours if you're having issues with your blow-off valve as well, even if it's not forged or if it's not on a 124 Spider. So the other day I was going on a quick Target run with my girlfriend, and all of a sudden in the middle of driving, I could hear it right away. I'm like, that does not sound right. The blow-off valve was very delayed and it barely went off. Now, I've had an issue with the blow-off valve being a little delayed. Now, I'm not gonna put any timestamps in this video. I'm gonna try and not keep it that long, but I think it's very important to watch the whole thing through because I think it's going to help folks who have this issue or at least can look out for this issue. So I've had a delay in the blow-off valve before. We'll cover that a little bit later. Let's cover this issue right here. I'm driving, blow-off valve is barely going off. And I pull over, and this is what I hear right away. I'll put it on screen right now. So at that point, I just kind of pulled over, looked under the hood, recorded that, didn't see anything standing out right away. And after Target, went back home, and in the driveway, this is what it sounded like. So as you can see, it's even worse. It barely vented. The first time it actually didn't vent at all, and I gave it enough throttle that it should have. And the other two, it barely vented at all. So I was kind of stumped. I didn't know what it could have been. I started doing some research to figure out what else could cause the blow-off valve, to not go off like that. We do have a solenoid that helps with it. The solenoid was intact. So a little bit later, it was getting dark out, things cooled off. I went under the hood again to take a look and see if I could find something out. I'm gonna play that video right now of me literally looking into it and show you what I found. All right, so I got a flashlight with my other phone, trying to visually see. So first thing I was checking with is if the solenoid is snapped in place, which I believe it is now that the engine is cooled off. The one thing that I just did though, I was following this hose, because this hose I can see it wraps around and goes to there and it looks totally fine. I'm looking for kinks in the line. So I'm following this hose, it's going there and it goes to this guy. All is good. And I'm like, okay, all is good. But then I'm looking down here and I see a hard kink right there. I don't know if we're gonna be able to see this. But right here, it looks like a very 90-degree kink in the hose is gonna be really hard. But you see that? It looks almost kind of maybe a little flatter. So I don't know if that's the issue. I'm gonna see where this hose is wrapping around. It's kind of difficult to do this with with no hands, I should say, because I got a phone in each hand. But that hose, I gotta see where that's going to. I have to try and that might be it, why it's causing the blow-off valve to not go off properly. Let me see if I can somehow straighten that out. So here's a quick photo showing you how it looked before I did anything to it. You can see that hard kink in the hose. And then this is a quick photo after I kind of massaged it out a little bit because it was hard to maneuver the hose any better, but now it looks good. So now we're gonna show how it sounded and looks like right after massaging it out and kind of taking that kink out. Now remember, the first one before this was when it barely vented. The first time it didn't even vent. And the second time and third time it like just opened for like literally a hair, like it was barely doing anything. This is the first time after fixing that hose. Let's see how it sounds like.
Looks like that was the issue. Now, as we can see, it's not kinked anymore. I kind of massaged it a little bit, nothing too crazy, but I massaged it up a bit, and now it's venting properly. Thank you for, she's doing her hair, so her hair's a little whacked up. All right.
Like powerful.
Yeah, I saw your shirt like lifted up almost. I was in the car when I was stepping on the gas, but I was looking over and I saw like the air hitting. Like, it barely moved.
This one has sprayed me. I felt it all the way to my stomach.
Yeah, I saw your shirt like lifting up. Dangerous. Bad blow valve. Lifting up her shirt. Bad blow valve. It's a little dark. There we go. So yeah, I got Bonnie over here. She was helping me before. How did it sound before?
It was like horrible.
Like you barely felt, you even said, because you were the one recording it, and
yeah,
you barely, you heard and felt like no air coming out, but this time that you did
it was for a split second, like a quarter of the sound that I just heard now.
Yeah, and now it kind of vented.
And it like pushed me, not pushed me back, but I felt it all the way to my body.
Yeah, well that was it then, so
a lot more
figured that out.
Longer length.
That's what she said. All right.
God.
All right, so now we solved that. The kink in the hose was keeping the blow valve from venting, opening, functioning properly whatsoever. So now the following day, I went out for a drive to see if it also fixed the delay that I had. I'm gonna play that now. I kind of go over the delay. I have an example of what it sounded like before, and we'll see if that also fixed that issue, and we'll go from there. All right, so another issue I had was my blow valve would sometimes be very, very delayed. It would sound fine, not like the issue that we just covered and fixed where the hose was completely kinked and it was either not going off or going off for a slight second, very little. I would be driving and the blow valve would sound normal. It would function properly, the sound and everything, but it would be extremely delayed. I would let off the gas and I would hear an initial sound first, instant when I let off the gas, which is not the blow valve. I believe some thoughts are it's from the intake, which I do believe that it kind of it's similar to like I guess a blow off sound, but it's not. It's just like a higher squeaky pitched sound, which I believe is from having the V4 intake. It's more, you know, the carbon fiber canisters are not that thick or whatever. So that comes from there, but the blow off valve would still be delayed. So after fixing this issue, my theory was maybe when it was delayed, the hose was just slightly kinked. So it was still functioning properly in the sense that it went off, but because it was slightly kinked, the air, it wasn't traveling quick enough or whatever it is, I don't know, that it wasn't going off at the right time. So we're gonna go for a quick drive. I have a video, it's a pretty crappy video because it's just like looking at my feet, but it's gonna show you, I mean, you're gonna see my foot load off the gas and you're gonna hear that initial sound that I'm referring to, which is, I believe, the intake. And then you're gonna hear that blow-off valve go off after. Sounds fine, but it's going off a lot after. We're about to go for a drive right now and see if the blow-off valve is gonna be in sync with me letting off the gas. I just checked under the hood. It's still fine, you know, I massaged it out. I'm probably gonna have to find either a different hose, thicker walled, or a longer hose that wraps, because it is like a tight bend and there's not a lot of room with that hose there. Either that or get some sort of like elbow, you know, like barb elbow fitting or whatever to help with that bend that it has. But either way, we're gonna go on a quick drive and I'm gonna record that same crappy video of like my feet just so we can see if we can capture the sound of the blow-off valve and see if it also fixed the problem with it being delayed. Because if it did, that's huge as well. Now we killed two birds with one stone. Anyone who has these issues, we know what it is. Because I was stumped, other people were stumped. We weren't sure why it was delayed. The one theory was the hose routing was long. And I don't know this type of stuff, but I could understand where that comes from. The hose routing is longer, it takes more time for the air to travel through. Maybe it delays the sound of the blow valve going off. I'm hoping that wasn't the issue and it was kinked a little bit, but not completely shut like it was that we just fixed. And that's maybe why it was delayed. So let's go for a drive and we will see if it's in sync now. All right, so real quick, I'm gonna show you the first one again, and then right after that, this first drive after, you know, the next day driving after the fix. All right, so we just went for a quick drive. And as you can see over there, it's not kinked anymore, and the sound sounded a lot better. Now, I have a feeling it's going to kink again, and it wraps around in a really weird fashion. See how it's pulling? Because it goes to the other side. So it's actually pulling and has a lot of tension on it. So I do see this happening again. So I'm gonna see if I can get either a longer hose or maybe like an elbow, like a barbed elbow fitting to make sure it doesn't happen. Because I believe this is not only fixing the issue I had with the blow valve not going off at all, but I think it's fixing the issue with the delay that I was having. So one more thing, I did start a Patreon. I had some folks talk about it before. You know, I know it's a really good way for you guys to support the channel if you want to. By no means do you have to feel necessary to do it at all. But going forward, I'm gonna start doing some bigger giveaways. I wanna start partnering up with some of the bigger companies out there. I haven't done it yet, but I got some big things coming. I have drivendistrict.com. As you can tell, I got some merch behind me. That's a great way to support the channel. Thank you to all the supporters who have purchased through my site. Patreon is another thing we have, as low as like a couple of dollars a month. I'll have the link below. I'll be updating it, but I just wanted to put this in there because I know there are some folks, you know, they might not be interested in merch, but they might be like, yeah, you know what, I'll put $5 a month to support the channel, keep it going. And obviously I greatly appreciate that. And I'll keep doing the best that I can and take everything into consideration you guys are saying and doing. And yeah, we'll go from there. So thanks a lot. Okay, so it might not be the easiest thing to pick up, but if you listen closely, you'll hear that like intake suction in the beginning and then a blow valve going off. And in the second video, which was the one after the fix, it does seem a little bit more in sync. Did it fix it? Is that the problem for the delay as well? I can't really say 100% because like I said, sometimes it would be super delayed, sometimes it would be a little delayed, and sometimes it would kind of sound that it would go off right when I let off the throttle. So I can't confirm that 100%. I'm gonna have to change the hose, get something a little bit longer, maybe that doesn't cause that tension to kink it, possibly swap it for, like I said, some sort of like elbow fitting. Then if it doesn't do it, now that I know for like a fact that I took that issue away and it doesn't sync or does, then I'll know if that was or wasn't the problem. But at least we know 100% that problem, that kink in the hose is what kept the blow valve from venting and opening and going off and did cause an even more delay as you saw earlier. So I do have a feeling that is the issue with the extra delay, because if you think about it, when you're driving, sometimes it would do it, sometimes it wouldn't. I guess it depends with maybe the heat or the way I'm driving, if it's putting more tension on that. I'm not sure if that's also vacuum or something, but I have a feeling that could be part of the issue for that too. We'll see in the future if I can 100% confirm that and get it to sync up a little bit more. Like I said, it does sound a little bit more in sync. There's a slight delay. Either the car decided not to do it this time, as much of a delay, or it could be like the hose routing's a little longer, causing that little bit of delay, and it is good right now and it did fix it. I don't know 100%. But I'm glad we were able to diagnose and find the culprit to the issue with the blow valve completely not functioning, because I was worried. I was like, I don't even know if I should be driving the car. If you think about it, it's build and boost, blow valve's not going off. That can't be safe for the turbo, I would assume. But luckily, we were able to fix it in that one day. So hopefully you guys found some value in this video. As always, if you guys enjoy it, give it a like, comment, let me know your thoughts and issues. If you've had any like this, if you know anything about the delay, and subscribe if you want to see more. As always, drivendistrict.com if you want to get some merch to support the channel. I'll catch you guys in the next video.